Okay, so in the first tutorial we ran over how to set up three of the basic printers outside 208, 221, and 301. In this tutorial we're going to run over setting up some more of the basic printers like you might have in your workrooms, and also some of the advanced ones like the Xerox copiers. So before we get started with the tutorial, we're going to need a file. So if everybody opens up Schoology, and then we want to go under groups, the whole school, staff and faculty, resources over on the left. And then if we scroll down to the bottom of that, we want to get inside this tech info. And you're going to want to go ahead and download this Everyone Prints Setup Info file. And I think then we'll continue on from there. Okay, so now that you have that file downloaded, go ahead and open it. And what we see first over on the very far left is a list of all the available printers that we have with the new print system. Then we have location, whether they actually are available to staff, student, or both. But the information that's going to be most important to us is this highlighted area right now, because as we run through the setup of each individual printer, it's going to ask us certain questions or prompt us to check certain settings or uncheck them. And this is where you're going to have to refer back to for that information. So I think at this point, let's go ahead and open up our browser and we'll get started. Let's try, as an example of a basic printer setup, we'll do the English workroom printer. So go ahead and open your browser. Okay, so now that you have your browser open, we need to go to the following website: http://eprint:7290, which is the same address if you followed the basic setup of 208, 221, and 301. We're going back to the same place. And then just enter your regular username and password that you use to get into your computer. And then we want to go to this driver print section. Go ahead and choose Mac as our operating system. And now at this point, what we need to do is refer back to our Excel spreadsheet. So for the English workroom printer, if we scroll across, we see that the driver mode, it's a simple direct. So if we go back here now, we choose simple direct, go ahead and click continue. Now we just choose the printer that we're trying to set up, the English workroom, and then we want to scroll down until we get to this section right here. So then maybe I'll move this over to the left a bit. And then now at this point we want to go ahead and open our system preferences and print and scan, and we want to click this plus sign to add a new printer. So I'll move that over there. And if you've done the basic setup of 208, 221, and 301, you know we need to go and click on this IP section here. And basically we just want to mirror all of this information over here on the left over to here on the right. So protocol, we want to make sure it says the Internet Printing Protocol. And then the address and queue information over here on the left, we can just take a copy of that and paste it over onto the right. Now under name, we can call it whatever we like. I'm just going to call it English Workroom. Now when we get to this section here under use, we have to go back and refer to our Excel spreadsheet again, and specifically this area right here. So we see the English Workroom, if we come across, is just a generic PostScript printer, which is already highlighted here. So we can go ahead and just click on Add. When we get to this section here where it asks us whether it's a duplex printing unit, which basically just means whether it can print double-sided or not, we're going to scroll across here and see that duplex print unit is checked. So we go ahead and check that, say OK, and that's basically it. If we go back under System Preferences, under the Print and Scan, we'll now notice that we have the English Workroom printer set up. Okay, so now let's go ahead and add another Workroom printer as an example. But before we do that, a quick note. The information here on the left that we used to set up the English Workroom printer, you cannot just go back and use the same information to set up additional printers. The address will always stay the same, but the queue information here actually changes for each particular printer you're trying to set up. So for instance, if we want to go now and let's just say Science Workroom Printer, we want to set that one up, we need to scroll back to the top and start the whole process over again. So we need to go to the driver print, select Mac, then we can go back here to our Excel spreadsheet and follow along and see that it's a simple direct printer. So we can choose that. Then go ahead and find it in our list. Scroll down, and if you notice, the queue information has changed and it's now specific to the Science Workroom printer. So at that point, we can go ahead and click on System Preferences, go to the Print and Scan section and click on the plus sign to add a new printer. And then we're just going to repeat the process. So we have to go under the IP section and mirror this information here over to here on the right. And as with all other printers, we can give it whatever name we like. I'll just call it Science Workroom. And then again for the Use section, just go back to our spreadsheet, and it's going to be a generic PostScript printer, which is what's already selected, so we can just go ahead and click Add. And when we get to the duplex printing unit section, if we follow along, it needs to be checked. So go ahead and check that and click Continue. And that should be it. If we go under System Preferences, we'll notice the Science Workroom printer is already installed and you should be good to go. Okay, so I think at this point I'm going to stop the tutorial, and for the more advanced setup of the copiers, the Junior Xerox copier, Physics Color Cube copier, and the Senior Reception copier, I'm going to make individual tutorials for each one of those, and I'll place them under the same area under the resources. So keep a lookout for those.